Alright guys, so yeah, this is today's build. This is a Stasis Warlock build that really is combining two builds into one. You could do one or the other, but you put them both together and it is absolutely disgusting, as this quick little bit of gameplay should have made readily apparent. Effectively, you are non-stop spamming your cold snap grenades, and then with the Aegir Scepter here, exotic Stasis Trace Rifle, once you have your super ability energy up, it is basically game over for everything in the lobby. I mean, this is just a really silly build. To call it overpowered is very much an understatement, but a ridiculously fun build nonetheless. So that bit of gameplay really should give you a pretty good idea of exactly what this build is about. We are spamming our grenades, and if you have the Aegir Scepter, you can just dump. Now, since the mod changes, the Aegir Scepter side of the build, frankly, isn't as powerful because it is a bit harder to get your hands on the special ammo with the same consistency we did before the rework. But, you know, it does still pop up often enough. Now, one side perk that I put on to make this less of a problem for me, you'll see, okay, now I'm back up to 288, but I want some more. Well, watch this. I'll shoot this guy, I'll finish him up. Well, a teammate stole my finisher, but what I'm looking for is not that. Oh, man. I need to get away from a teammate to show you this final aspect. And I need this to just shoot one bullet, not multiple. Yeah, this guy will work. Come here. And finisher and special ammo brick. So it will guarantee a special ammo brick every time that you perform a finisher. So if you're running out of power for your scepter, that's all it takes. Just find an enemy, finish them. Use the finisher, that's it. That's all it takes. So that's the build. I wanted to show you that aspect. Obviously, we'll show you everything I have set up on all of my equipment, but that is it in action. So let me just get out of here, let these guys have their fun. They could be powering up weapons and what have you. So that's the build. That's the footage. This one's awesome. So there's basically, like I said, I'm combining two builds into one. You could do one or the other or both together if you have it ready. So let's start with the first part of the build, and that is going to be the focus on the Osmiomancy gloves. This is a very, very, very powerful Warlock exotic gauntlet. It basically functions the same as many of the exotic pieces. Only in this case, you get an additional charge on your cold snap grenade. So we'll drill into this first. We'll read about it. Cold snap grenades have an additional charge. It recharges quicker on direct impact. The seeker spawned from cold snap travels further. So it's going to go further to find enemies to freeze them so you can wash, rinse, repeat. We will eventually drill into all of the mods we have in because that's important in this build, especially how I have this synergizing for two builds in one. So let's just start with the first part first, the Osmiomancy gloves. Of course, we're on our Shadebinder subclass for Stasis. Abilities, my Healing Rift, my Burst Glide, Penumbral Blast, that's our melee, that's what we have. And then the Cold Snap Grenade, that is the key to this build. For aspects, I've got Glacial Harvest. Freezing targets create stasis shards around the frozen target. Higher tier combatants create more shards. And the shards, when we collect them, will restore melee energy. That's important because of the setup on here that constantly is pumping energy back into this build. And then the second one is the Ice Flare Bolts. So shattering a frozen target will spawn seekers that track and freeze other nearby enemies. So we are chaining that freeze that we are constantly throwing out. That's the two that I like. There is a way that you could use either the Bleak Watcher or the Frost Pulse. I mean, it honestly doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to use. I just find that my energy and my abilities are up far quicker and more consistently with Ice Flare and Glacial Harvest. So the fragments. The keys to this build: Whisper of Fissure. Increase the damage and size of burst on stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. So this is not necessary, but I like it just because it makes the build nastier. The second one over here is a nice quality of life, Whisper of Conduction, nearby stasis shards track to your position. So it's just like the Ionic Trace arc build, only this is the stasis shard equivalent, so it's going to let them track to you so you can kind of hold your position without having to jump all over the map to pick up your stasis shards that you're constantly spawning. The next one, this is important, Whisper of Torment. You gain grenade energy each time you take damage from targets. So you're going to be in a fight, you're going to take damage, it's going to be pumping energy right back into your grenades to make them come back quicker than they already do. The final one, Whisper of Shards. When you shatter a stasis crystal, it will temporarily boost your grenade charge rate. This is pumping more speed into the grenade charge. When you shatter additional crystals, it will increase the duration of that benefit. Also has that nice plus 10 resilience side bonus perk, so that's a really nice one. This is my recommendation. These two right here are absolute musts for this build. You could get away with swapping out anything else if you're choosing, but if you took the time to read through the rest of the fragments, I think you would see why these are the four I landed on. These last two I would say are required. This I strongly recommend, Whisper of Conduction, but the first one, if you want to swap it out for something else, have at it. Dealer's choice. So that is the abilities, aspects, and fragments. Now let's look at our mods and our armor setup to see how this all works together. So I've got just a nice resilience boost over here only because I'm using Aegir's Scepter do I have this on. Special ammo finder. Increase the drop chance of special ammo on kill. And it does tell you multiple copies will increase the ammo gained per drop. Not the increased chance, the ammo gained per drop. So that is a change that they made when they reset the mods. So yeah, it's not as one and done, guaranteed you're constantly having special ammo drop, which is why I have on that other perk that I showed you where a finisher guarantees it will drop for me every single time. Harmonic Siphon. Rapid stasis weapon final blows create an orb of power. Always nice, quality of life. And then gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. I have this one on because I'm doing the two builds in one. The Aegir's Scepter build in tandem with the Osmiomancy exotic gauntlet builds. For my exotic gauntlets, I've got, of course, higher discipline, more grenade energy to shorten the time. Grenade Kickstart, of course, anytime the energy is fully expended, we get energy back. I have that doubled up because it does stack. And then Impact Induction, when I cause damage with a melee, it will reduce my grenade cooldown. Since my melee comes up pretty often as well, may as well have another means of pumping more energy back into that nade because it's effectively an infinite Cold Snap grenade build at its base form. Everything else is just gravy on top of it. So for our robes, again, I've got more grenade energy. Over here, Stasis Reserves increases the amount of ammo you can carry for stasis weapons. I have that since I'm pairing the Aegir's Scepter build into it. Unflinching Harmonic Aim. That's a nice quality of life since I'm primarily using the Aegir's Scepter Stasis Trace Rifle. And then the final one, we've got Harmonic Reserves. Increase the amount of ammo you can carry for stasis weapons, so that increases the overall clip size for the Aegir's Scepter. Come down here to our boots. We've got a Resilience mod on, quality of life. Stasis Scavenger. Stasis weapons get bonus reserves when picking up ammo used by that weapon. So that is our special ammo bricks when we pick them up. Then we've got Double Innervations. Reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power. That's why I have some Orb of Power generation perks in. Just a more quick ability to get our grenade back to full. Then on the Bond, I've got another Resilience mod. Got it paired with Reaper. After using your class ability, your next weapon Final Blow spawns an Orb of Power. Some more Orbs of Power to recharge the grenades. Bomber. reduce grenade cooldown when using your class ability. So again, throw down the ability aside from the Arts of Power pumping back in, just casting it is going to throw more power back in. And then finally, Special Finisher. This is the one that allows you to guarantee that special ammo you need to pump into your Aegir's Scepter if you want to roll the dual build, which I do highly recommend. And that will let you immediately get a brick, not just for you, but your whole fire team if you're playing with buddies. So this is how we're feeding non-stop energy into our grenades. It also has some cyclical energy feedback looping into the melee, as well as giving us the ability to get higher drop chances, higher overall clip capacity for our Aegir's Scepter. So this, you could tweak some abilities if all you were doing was the Osmiomancy gloves, but I would highly encourage you to consider rolling the two builds together. The Aegir's Scepter build on its own is disgusting. This build on its own is disgusting. You put them together, it's the best of both worlds, and you are just non-stop dumping with constant energy uptime, as you saw in those video clips of the gameplay of this build in action. So, Aegir's Scepter. Let's read about this if you're unfamiliar with it. It's kind of special intrinsic trait here, Aegir's Call. Final weapon blows generate a slowing burst around the defeated target. Now there's another key element to this, is Riga's Refrain. Stasis final blows transfer ammo to the weapon's magazine from reserves. So it's constantly refilling it so you don't have to stop to reload itself. And it's got some other nice perks on the side of it. Now if you have the Catalyst, if you've masterworked this, which I highly recommend, this is the key to the actual Aegir's Scepter's build itself. So at the bottom is what we're looking at. Hold down X, long press, it will drain super energy, overflows the magazine, and empowers the beam with bonus damage and ability to slow and freeze targets until the mag or your super energy runs out, or if you swap weapons. So you can only activate it when the super energy is full. That is true. So that is another reason that I have a couple of side perks in there that help me get super energy back quicker as well, because it allows me to use this half of the build even quicker. As great as the non-stop cold snaps are, there is zero doubt that the Aegir's Scepter build is the stronger half. Even though they're both phenomenal, you put them together, it's just disgusting. So that's how this functions. And the rest of the things it'll tell you, defeating combatants while using the weapon will let you unlock the upgrade, the Catalyst. So if you don't yet have it, go to the Grasp of Avarice intro dungeon, go to the moon, any place that has tons of non-stop waves of enemies, just grind it out. It does not take that long. This is a powerful weapon. You will get the kills very quickly, and then you'll have the Catalyst to be able to use that as that part of the build. So that build is basically the weapon intrinsic perk itself, plus you're setting up the ability to get more special ammo so you can constantly be feeding it and to be pumping more energy back into your super. So that is the Aegir's Scepter side of the build. This is the Osmiomancy. The Osmiomancy is the easier of the two to set up. The Aegir's Scepter is just the overpowered gravy on top. Outside of that, guys, it doesn't matter what you want to run. On this one, I'm just running my Drong Baroque. I like it. It reloads quickly. It's good. It's powerful. Good weapon. I could just as easily swap it out for Brigand's Law, whatever other side weapon of my choosing, and then I've got a nice target tracking rocket launcher on this build. Outside of this, it doesn't matter, guys. Whatever floats your boat, but this is the key setup, and it is absolutely nasty. And you saw how it was effectively non-stop infinite energy onto my grenades. Yeah, that minute 33, it means nothing with the setup here. It is non-stop. It's just like the infinite solar grenades, the infinite fusion grenade builds. It's just the stasis version of it, which I think you could make a pretty strong argument that is maybe the stronger of the builds, because it's the build that allows you to freeze targets in place. When they're frozen, they can't hurt you. When they can't hurt you, you don't take damage. When you don't take damage, you stay on your feet. So guys, that is the build. I don't even know what I would call this one other than just a really disgusting stasis build. It's one I highly recommend if you haven't tried it out yet. And if you only want to try one or the other together, and you want me to kind of let you know what I would adjust to make it the most strong for just the Aegir Scepter or just the Osmiomancy side of it, no problem. Happy to throw that to you. Just let me know down in the comments. But otherwise, guys, yeah, this is one I highly recommend testing out. It is a nasty build. It's one that I haven't played with in a while, but every time I come back to it, it puts a smile on my face. Guys, thanks so much for checking in. Until next time, we will catch ya on the next one.